Hi, thank you for joining us for the December Cancer Prevention Wellness Series presentation. This is brought to you by the Cancer Survivors Park Alliance. We are happy to have Julia Humphreys on our call today. She is the survivorship coordinator at Gibbs Cancer Center, and we are very happy to have her. Thanks, Julia.
Of course, thank you for having me. Today, I want us to have a conversation about self-care for the winter holidays, and how to embrace, adjust, and thrive during this time of year. For our introduction, I know that we've all heard time and time again, there are even songs sung about it, that this is the most wonderful time of the year. But the fact is that the holidays can come with challenges for many people, whether that's through stress, societal pressures, or financial strain. The winter holiday season can also be especially challenging for those navigating a new normal. I know we hear that term thrown around a lot, but a new normal doesn't have to be a negative. It could also be a positive. Your negatives would be the loss of a loved one, relocation, career shifts. These things can be exciting. Not the loss of a loved one, obviously, but relocation, career shifts, these things can be exciting, but also kind of throw you into this uncharted territory in terms of this time of the year and holiday planning. Also, relationship changes. That could be a divorce, a breakup, whether that is a new relationship, a new marriage, trying to navigate two families and the socialization of that during this time of year can be challenging. The holiday season also tends to get so busy that it can be really hard to carve out time for yourself. But self care really needs to be a priority this time of year. Self care doesn't mean fixing everything or pretending that everything is fine. It means to give yourself permission to prioritize your well being and embrace the season in a way that feels right for you. So, what is self care? The definition of self care is that it's intentional actions to maintain physical, mental, and emotional well being. Self care means that you're taking intentional steps to support yourself. It's not about indulgence. I know that we see that a lot of times on social media or things. It's actually about sustainability. So, it's taking care of yourself so you don't burn out in the future, so you can better continue being your best self for you and for the people around you. There are different types of self-care. There's physical, emotional, social. There's several more that we'll go over as well, but these are your main three components. During the holidays, I think self-care is super important because it helps counteract stress and emotional strain. We're going to do a little myth busting here. So, self care is not selfish. You may have heard people say that to you or heard people say that to other people. It's selfish to only think about yourself. Or you may be saying that to yourself. You may feel guilty when you try to take care of yourself or do things that are only for your well being. But that's not the case. It's really not selfish. Taking care of yourself allows you to show up for yourself and others in a more healthier and present way. So, challenges of holidays in a new normal. This can come in three different varieties. There can be emotional challenges. So, the holidays can amplify your feelings of grief, loneliness, anxiety. If you've recently lost someone, this time might feel like a reminder of their absence. If you're experiencing a major life shift, it may feel really disorienting to navigate the season without your traditions or even your support system. It can also be external pressures, so expectations from families, traditions, financial stress. Family expectations and traditions can sometimes feel really overwhelming this time of year, especially when they no longer align with your reality or where you are in your own life. And then there's internal struggles. So, guilt or resistance to change, struggles with identity. It's common to feel guilt or resistance about letting go of old traditions, per se, or even creating new ones. You might also wrestle with your own identity. Who are you now? Have you changed throughout the year? Have you progressed and kind of shifted your views or how you want to present yourself or live your life? And then how do you approach this season with authenticity going from there? So let's just pause for a moment. I want you all to kind of just take a moment and think about what are the specific challenges that you're facing this season? What feels hardest for you right now? I will be vulnerable and share with you. My dog passed away last month. And navigating the holidays and traditions without her companionship. That's what feels hard to me right now. I also say that to say your loss may seem too small to share, or it may seem, oh, I shouldn't be feeling this way. People may be dealing with more. But it is your struggle and it is your journey. And so being able to be aware of those things, that way, being aware is the way that we will be able to move forward. It's the way that we can put it out there and then we can figure out how to move forward and take care of ourselves so that we can be present for other people.
Yeah, and I like what
So
you said about like not comparing yourself to others. I think that sometimes at the end of the year, people post or share just the highlights of their year and their accomplishments, and those are obviously good to acknowledge in others and be happy for others. But there is that sense of, did I do enough? Am I doing enough? Do I have enough? And I think that you know letting go of those sort of pressures is a helpful tool in this time.
definitely, I completely agree with that. Um, while we're on the topic, we will go ahead and talk about stress and the things that cause us stress. I just shared with you what is causing me stress the most during the holiday season this year, but let's see what's causing everyone stress. So, the American Psychological Association completed a research study last year in 2023. They had about 4,000 participants in the study, and the results were pretty astounding. 89% of people said that something causes them stress during the holiday season. And this is the US population, so nearly 9 in 10 people reported that they're stressed during the holiday season.
Wow.
Honestly, I would be very curious if the other 11% just didn't feel like being open and sharing fully. But that's a huge number, so you're not alone. The 10 most common, we won't go through all of them, but let's just start with a couple. 58% reported spending too much money or not having enough to spend is what caused them the most stress. Finding the right gifts, missing family or loved ones. I know that one's a really big one for people. Having too much to do, too many parties, too many assignments, too many decorations to put up. Feeling pressure to make the holidays special. Food or alcohol related issues. You're around a lot more of this in social situations than you are in your normal setting. And sometimes that can be really debilitating or really a struggle for people. Not being able to spend time or be with your family, family conflict, feeling left out, and also travel. So let's go ahead and start breaking down. We've gone over what can be stressful. Maybe some of those things resonate with you, and you're feeling, oh yeah, this is definitely what's got me down this time of year, or this is what I'm struggling with, or this is what I'm worried about when we're going into the next few weeks. Let's talk about how we can manage those symptoms and how we can manage those feelings and turn them into something positive for ourselves. So, physical self-care strategies for the holidays. We'll start here. So pace yourself with your holiday preparations. I know this is easier said than done, but take some time. We still have a little time left before the holidays, before Christmas, before New Year's. Take some time to set aside days for shopping, for decorating, for meal prep, to prevent that overwhelming feeling. If you're going to a big box store in the next few weeks, instead of going at 1 p.m. or at 5 p.m. when everyone is there, maybe wake up when they open and go ahead and slip on in and get on out before you feel overwhelmed by the presence of everyone else in their hustle and bustle. Focus on what brings you joy. You don't have to have a perfectly decorated home, even though it may feel nice for you. You don't have to have elaborate meals. It's really about focusing on what brings you joy and leaving the stressful things behind. I think it's really important to note too that it doesn't have to be forever. Just because you take a break from things that don't serve you this year doesn't mean you can't revisit those things in the future. Or you know what? Maybe it means that you never revisit those, and that's okay too. But just give yourself the opportunity to actually explore that thought and explore what really serves you during this time of year. The second is prioritizing rest during busy days. So, with the hustle and bustle of the holidays, your energy can be really drained. So, try to make time for naps, quiet breaks, even early bedtimes when you need them. I
Mhm.
actually during December have an alarm set on my phone personally at 8:30 that just kind of dings my brain and reminds me, okay, whatever you're doing, let's wrap it up. Go ahead and start putting things away and start getting yourself ready for bed in that quiet time. And sometimes that may take me 30 minutes. Sometimes it may take me an hour to get there, but it's still triggering my brain to stop with enough time to where I know I'll get enough rest to be able to make it through these busy days. And also give yourself permission to decline things that are making you feel physically drained so you can recharge. That's really important. Um,
Yeah, I think it's important to also just acknowledge that our circadian rhythms do change with the time change, with the daylight being different, and I think it's important to realize that our nature is resting, and we can give ourselves permission to rest too.
Absolutely. Even if you aren't feeling stressed because of the holidays, you could be feeling down or tired just from your circadian rhythm being off. There's no question about that. The second one that can help with that, but sometimes it's more difficult at this time of year as well, like you're saying, Rachel, is moving with the season. So incorporate seasonal activities. So maybe if it's not too cold, you could take a brisk walk in the evenings to look at Christmas lights with your family or with your friends. Trying to combine that movement with fun. If it is too cold outside, then maybe just do some light stretching or some yoga indoors to relieve that tension from the stress. And the last one is stay hydrated and nourished. With the holidays everywhere, there's food and there are treats and there are cookies and alcohol. There's all these things that are around us that may not normally be around us every day. So it's really important to stay very hydrated with your water and find nourishing things to add to your day. You don't have to skip the indulgent treats. Balance is key here, as with everything. Enjoy them mindfully, enjoy them guilt-free, but just try to make sure that you're also mindful about adding something nourishing into your day as well. The next topic would be emotional self-care. So this one is big, of course. And how can we move through the holiday season and make sure that we are emotionally sound once the season passes? So first is acknowledge your feelings. The holidays can be really complicated and they can bring up complicated emotions, primarily because you think you shouldn't be feeling those things during this time of year because it should be happy or it should be exciting and you should be having all these warm, fuzzy feelings. But it's okay if sometimes that you're not. Give yourself the space to feel whatever comes up. If it's grief, if it's joy, loneliness, or even nostalgia, you're just missing the old days or missing things that you used to do or family members that used to be around, those traditions. All of these emotions are valid. What you could do is you could take a journal, you could write down your thoughts about these things and what you miss or what you're feeling, what you're joyful about. And you could also call a friend, talk to a friend about it, or call a family member if you're close to, and have that conversation with someone and talk it out. The second is to create new traditions. So, if old traditions don't fit your new reality, think about what would bring yourself comfort now. For example, if you normally have a big Christmas dinner with your family, you might decide that maybe a quiet movie night is better fit for you this year. You can also create rituals to honor your loved ones if that's something that you're dealing with this year that are no longer with you. Like you could light a candle in their honor. You could share favorite stories about them going around the table at dinner. Just a way to incorporate them and make them feel present in that situation for you.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I think one of the things too is aging relatives and not having them to carry out some of these traditions. I think being able to actually do the tradition for them even can be a powerful way to continue it and serve them and also acknowledge that that is a really meaningful part of your holiday. And you want to make sure that they feel like their contribution to that holiday is still really worth having around, even if they don't have the physical ability to keep it. So that's something that I'm hoping to incorporate with my aging grandparents this coming holiday. I'm hoping to make some of the things that they love to make for our dinner.
I love that so much. I'm actually doing the same thing this weekend, Rachel. My family, the my grandparents used to always make Christmas cookies, and they're just not able. And so now me and my mom have taken that tradition on, and we give them to all the people that they gave them to as well, and take them to them. And it just fills their heart with joy, and it's a way to honor them and honor that, and let them know that that's going to continue. So I think that's very important to point out. The next thing would be limiting overwhelm. So the holidays can lead to decision fatigue, no question. You could be setting the dinner table and someone asks you which placemat to use, and you just cannot figure it out. When 2 weeks ago you could have answered that easily. That's okay. Just try to take a breath when you feel overwhelmed in these situations. So stick to meaningful activities. Don't try to do everything. Just set limits on how much you're on social media. I know we touched on that a moment ago, and we'll touch on it again, but it's really important in this day and age. That comparison theory, that feeling of comparison and inadequacy can be there, and it can creep in even when you don't realize it is. If you're struggling or if you're having a moment to where you feel like your holiday season just isn't feeling the way you feel like it should. And then you see everyone posting going on their extravagant vacations or they're out skiing and or with their huge families for Christmas. It can make you feel a little down, and you don't really realize it's happening until you already feel that way. So just limiting that time is really important. So practice gratitude. So in a moment of stress, shift your focus. I would suggest maybe think about three things that you're grateful for. It doesn't have to be three amazing, fantastic things. We're not shooting for the moon here. We're just letting our brains float and navigate to grateful things and positivity. So maybe it's the warm blanket that you're laying under. Maybe it's a kind word someone said to you today, and maybe it's a good meal that you have for dinner. Those things are valid, and those things are things that you should be grateful for. That's okay to recognize the small joys. I think those are what make up life anyway. So, social self care for the holidays. First of all, let's talk about curating your holiday calendar. So, saying yes to only events and gatherings that genuinely bring you joy. I know a lot of people struggle with this. You feel like if you're invited to the party, you have to go. You know, sometimes you don't. You can just say, I really, really appreciate it. I love it. I hope I can check back in with you guys next year. But it's okay to just take that time for yourself. Just say, I feel like I need to stay in for the night. Also, surround yourself with supportive people. So, spend time with people that uplift you. If family gatherings are difficult, make time to connect with friends or chosen family who understand and support you. Also, if you're alone for the holidays, maybe consider joining a community event, maybe a volunteer organization on those days that you feel like you may feel alone, or an online gathering to create connection as well. Navigate family dynamics with boundaries. I know boundaries is maybe an overused word at this point, but I think that the topic and the tools that boundaries can give you are really important. Prepare for the responses of difficult topics that may come up. So I don't know if you've seen, I do limit my social media, but I also do see it sometimes. There's been lots of different things going around about different things that you can say to family members or friends if they say things that you don't feel comfortable answering. And one that you could say if someone comes up with a sensitive topic, you could just say, "Hey, I really don't feel like talking about that right now." Now, for us Southern belles, sometimes that may feel a little too blunt. And so you could also follow something like that up with, hey, I'd really rather not talk about that. But I heard that Johnny's home from Clemson. How is that? It's amazing, right? So you could kind of flip that around and kind of make the topic go back to them. And usually that will catch someone's attention enough to start chatting about their own life and kind of deflect from the question that was asked. And also focus your time with family and friends that really make you feel safe and valued. So, if you have to go to the big family event or the big friend event where you don't feel as comfortable, kind of find your group there and make sure that you have a support system when you're in those situations as well. So let's talk about spiritual and mindfulness practices during the holiday. Um, It's really important to ground yourself with your holiday rituals. So, if you celebrate a specific holiday, Christmas, Hanukkah, reconnect with its meaning. Maybe go back to why we celebrate in the first place. Also, revisit your own rituals and your own family rituals. Maybe prayers or traditions that resonate with you. Even if you don't observe the holiday, you can also create personal rituals that bring peace. So, lighting candles, listening to calming music, or holiday music if that's what you're into. Just kind of finding that place that you feel grounded within all of the chaos. Mindfulness in the moment. So the holidays can distract us from the present. There's no question about that. Slowing down and savoring small moments, maybe like the scent of a pine tree or Christmas tree, the taste of a favorite treat. When your favorite holiday song comes on, I know every time when Nat King Cole, the Christmas song, comes on, I will stop in my tracks and just say, "Oh, I love this song." So just taking that moment to kind of breathe, and slow down. I'll also say, if you are feeling like you are in a day during the holiday season where you are just running around and you can't stop and you're one thing to the other and you just feel like you're up to here, I would just say slow your body down. The easiest way to slow your brain down is to slow your actual physical motion, your motions, your bodily motions down. So just take a second, take a breath, and just say, what's next? One thing at a time, and do that action slowly. Whether it's when you're cooking dinner and you're chopping up your vegetables and you're chopping super fast to get it all in the pot, chop slowly. Just be intentional about that. Or whether it's emptying groceries and you're throwing the bags everywhere, just one thing out at a time and put it in its place. It will really help trick your brain and slow it down to make you feel a little less stressed. Also, reconnect with your values. So, reflect on what the holidays mean to you personally. It may not be what it's meant to you in the past. It's really important to kind of give that some thought. This could be about giving, maybe the way that you want to be able to give and offer what you have been grateful for throughout the year. It could also be about family, it could be about rest. It's a really busy time of year, but it can also be a time of rest and renewal. Let your values guide you on how you spend your time and your energy.
Yeah, I really love the values piece. I think that it's really important to remember what makes this season special, even if it's not for religious reasons. It's a point where you can maybe give back to a charity. Maybe you make a box to give as a gift. Maybe you're just making little, you know, tokens of your appreciation for coworkers, and just kind of having that moment where this is my value. I believe in giving back. I believe in gratitude. I believe in serving others, and that's a small way you can celebrate too. Is through your own actions, and giving. Actually gives more to you than it does to them, and that's been a very powerful tool as well.
Yes, absolutely. To expand on that, creative and joyful self-care during the holidays. So you could also take everything that you were just mentioning, Rachel, into like honing your own skills to be able to give to others. Holiday crafts and projects, that's a good one. You can engage on hands-on activities like making ornaments. We just had a class the other night at the Cancer Center where we made ornaments, and it was super fun to see everyone creating things. And they were all talking amongst themselves about, oh, I'm going to give this to such and such. I'm going to give this to my granddaughter. Just being able to kind of make something with your own hands and then share that with the world is really special. So these activities can be really calming. You could decorate cookies. You could make the holiday wreaths in the photo here. If you're grieving or navigating change, moving your body and being creative with your brain can really be a therapeutic outlet to process emotions. So, kind of getting your hands in something and getting dirty with something can really help open your mind up and just kind of get into those areas that will process things a little better. So, celebrating small joys. I've already said this, but this is one of my favorite things to do. So plan small, joyful activities like driving around to see the Christmas holiday lights. We have several locations around us that have really amazing lights. So, you can drive around and look at lights with friends and listen to music, sipping hot cocoa while watching the snowfall. We wish, right? In this area, it would be wonderful for us to get a white Christmas, but maybe you could sip hot cocoa sitting by your fireplace at home. Snow would be wonderful, but that's a stretch for us for sure. And if the holidays feel overwhelming, just focus on one small thing each day. I know I said three earlier, but let's try one, okay? So, a quiet moment with some tea in the morning, lighting a candle, snuggling with your favorite pet, watching your favorite holiday movie, listening to your favorite song. These types of things can really help to shift your brain and bring you back to what you're grateful for and joy. Also, you could start a gratitude jar or a memory box, like you were saying, Rachel. You could create your own things here. You could start throughout the holiday season, writing down memories that bring you joy, things that have happened that you're thankful for. You can save receipts for fun things that you've done. I actually do this throughout the year. I had a friend that gifted me one of these one year for my birthday, and so I've done it for years. And throughout the year, if we go on a really fun hike, I'll just grab a little leaf and I'll throw it in the jar. If we go on a fun vacation, I'll save my flight stop and put it in there. Um, if there's a really great picture and I had a really great dinner with someone, I'll print it off and I'll put it in the jar. And then at the end of the year, you can sit down around the new year and you reflect on the really great things that have happened to you throughout the year. And you think you'll remember all of them, but you don't. And it's a really, really fun opportunity to just find that gratefulness throughout your year.
Yeah, I love that. I also think another piece, I know that it might not be a typical thing to do like a handwritten Christmas card. You think of a Christmas card with a photo on it with a simple message, and maybe it's sent to, 100 families that you're close with, but also making the effort to handwrite a card. Maybe you remember that memory and you're thanking them for just the way that they contributed to your year. I think that we wait until New Year's to kind of reflect on what we want to do for this coming year, but Christmas can be a really great time, or another holiday that you may celebrate during the holidays that can actually be an effort that you intentionally make to give somebody that thank you. And a specific handwritten piece can go a long way in making their holiday special, and that can be really powerful, even maybe more so than a physical gift they unwrap.
Absolutely. I think that the art of writing cards is almost lost to us these days.
Mhm.
So when you get them, it makes it that much sweeter to know that someone took the time to sit down and think their thoughts out and handwrite them. It's just a really beautiful touch for sure. I know that I would rather have that than a gift. It's always really special when someone takes the time to do that. So let's talk about navigating triggers during the holidays. This is part of self-care, knowing, identifying, what is emotionally triggering for you throughout the holidays, and then making a plan. If you can identify that, you can make a plan on how to push through and get to the other side of that. So let's prepare for tough moments. If there are certain songs, activities, traditions, that are emotionally triggering for you, and you know that before going into that, just decide ahead of time how you're going to handle that. So, for example, you might avoid a certain event, or you may say, okay, I'll go to that event, but I need a place to have a break when I feel these emotions coming up. And whether that's you excuse yourself to the restroom and just hold onto the counter and take a couple breaths before you go back out into the party or into the event, just being able to know how to deal with that feeling if it comes up. You need to go outside and take a break. You need to slip out and call a friend and say, hey, can you just talk me down for a second? I think those things are really helpful when you're in those tough moments to have a plan. So let's lean on your support systems. Just like I was saying about giving someone a call, let someone know that you may be struggling with that. Let someone know that you may be walking into a situation that you won't feel very comfortable with and say, hey, do you mind? Like if I reach out, or can I text you? Or Could I call if I'm feeling uncomfortable? Or even, after the event or after whatever makes you feel uncomfortable, hey, do you mind coming over? I feel like this may be a little stressful, a little overwhelming for me. Can you come hang out afterwards so I'll have something to look forward to? Might be a good idea. And also allow for flexibility. So, this is a really big one. Give yourself the permission to change your plans during the holiday if they're not working for you. You can always adjust the days to better fit your needs. For Christmas, for example, or Thanksgiving was one as well. A lot of times families want to get together on those exact days, but sometimes the bigger your family gets, the harder that may be. Or the further away that your family lives, the harder that may be. It's important that the date is not what matters. It is spending time with the people that you love. So if that doesn't work for you, if it feels overwhelming, all the travel, all the preparation, all the packing and the repacking, have that conversation and say, I really love spending time with you. But the time is what's important to me, not the actual day. It's just really important to find what works for you. Just think about your feelings and think about how you're feeling throughout the holiday season and how to cater things and maybe shift your perspective and shift other people's perspectives on how to make it okay and enjoyable for everyone. So let's go back to that technology and online self-care during the holidays. Virtual celebrations. A couple years ago, this would have been something that we all would not have really known how to do other than maybe FaceTime. But since the pandemic, I think we're all pretty looped in to connecting with our loved ones that are far away virtually. If you're feeling overwhelmed, maybe you could just attend a Zoom dinner. Um, Maybe you could watch a movie with a friend online and you could start the movie at the same time. Or you could even have like a holiday trivia night together. You could just get together with people that are far away, even though they're far, they could still be in your living room virtually. And you can also use technology to send voice notes. So this is also kind of playing on what you were saying, Rachel, about handwritten notes. If someone sends you a gift or does something really kind for you, instead of just like picking up your phone and shooting over a text, like, "Hey, thanks so much. That was so nice." You could record a video, like hold the thing up and say, "Oh my God, I love this so much," and let them see your actual reaction to it. I think that makes it really personal. And it just feels a lot more personal than a text to be able to see your actual facial reactions to something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think also getting together with friends that might be all over the country is a great way. Joining a group FaceTime and organizing that, even if it's just for 30 minutes, I think that can be really powerful in fostering community, even when the people that you have interacted with maybe for years and no longer have direct access to them in person. It can still be an ongoing party per se, just on a virtual platform. That's been very powerful for some of my friends to get together when we really don't have the ability to see each other during the year.
I love that idea. I need to use that in my own life. I love that. Um, so the other one is a digital detox for peace. So, setting boundaries with your technology. There are all different ways. There are apps that you can do this with now. It's actually built into your phone if you have an iPhone. I'm not sure if it is with Androids, but it probably is, to where you can actually set timing limits on your social media. So if you don't want to just go cold turkey and have the holiday season without it, which I know lots of people that are doing that actually, but if you didn't want to do that, you can set a timer. For example, I'll use myself as an example. I have my social media set on a 30-minute timer a day, which actually sounded like a lot to me. But then once I got on there, the 30 minutes went by like that. And so, kind of thinking like, oh, wow, it really makes you start being aware of how much time you're spending on the apps, but also how much you're taking in from other people's experiences. And like we said before, you're seeing the highlights. You're not seeing when they're stressed out and running from store to store and can't find the right gift and come home and looking online and they still can't. You're not seeing like the turmoil. You're only seeing the silver lining and the sparkly, shiny stuff. So,
Yeah, and I also think it's important to remember how much time you're taking from your own life when you're
mhm,
scrolling other people's. I think that's been a big realization for me this year with social media is I'm spending, 30 minutes to an hour every day looking at somebody else's life, and that can be a good source of inspiration and a good source of connection. I'm not devaluing social media, but you are taking away from precious hours and memories that you could be making in your own life. So that's something to really be mindful of. And I do like your idea of using those limit options on those apps.
yes. And I think the other component of that I have realized recently is, we focus on seeing everyone else's highlight reel, but a lot of times now you're following influencers or you're following people that are showing you things all the time. And so during the holiday season, you can just have this urge to buy, 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 buy. And also like I feel like limiting that can help with your financial strain as well because you don't have those impulse, just click the button and you can buy it. So that's another component of that as well. So building resilience for the future. Let's break this down. The holiday season may be very challenging, but it can really also be an opportunity for growth and renewal. Um, Also, celebrate the progress that you've made, no matter how small. I think the simple fact that you're interested in learning about how to expand your capacity to care for yourself, that you're tuning into this conversation that we're having, means that you are really making progress. I think the first step in progress is acknowledgement and awareness for the need for more time spent nurturing your own needs. That's progress in itself. It's the first step to making lifestyle changes and holding the space for positive changes to occur. So the fact that you're even aware, even if you're not ready to um, take steps towards that, the awareness is a step. So you're already doing it. Continue to build coping skills that promote long-term resilience and well-being. So just continue to think about ways that you can help center yourself and ground yourself during this time of year. And also, embrace the journey or the healing and the self-compassion. Like, I find myself during not just during this time of year, but sometimes I'll do something silly and I'll be like, why on earth did you do that? Or I'll say these things out loud and then I'll actually say out loud like, be nice to her or be nice to yourself. So talk to yourself like you would talk to a friend, is the way that I try to think about that. So, resources and support. So, once we're finished with this, if you still want to be thinking about this topic, where can you go for help? Uh, explore books on resilience or grief or mindfulness. Podcasts can also be really helpful. They can provide really inspiring stories, really helpful tips on how to navigate things that you're going through throughout the holiday season. Um, Mindfulness apps as well. So there are two that come to mind, which is Calm and Headspace. I'm sure that there are multiple out there. You can use that. It will help you navigate step by step how to center yourself and be mindful. Whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whether it's reading you a story to help you fall asleep at night and be more restful at a better time. You could also invest in a journal or even a hobby kit. I know a lot of people are like crocheting these days, just something to kind of help you stay grounded.
Yeah, the Headspace app, I've personally used that. They have a whole series on breathing and just how powerful breathing can be. And there's a lot of different techniques out there that we're not even fully aware of that can come into play when you're feeling overwhelmed, and it can be really a very pivotal thing to use. It can really be the difference between having an emotional outburst and reeling it in and walking away and feeling calm and not having that impulse. So the Headspace app, I would definitely recommend personally, just as a good resource for, again, more tools for mindfulness.
Absolutely. To piggyback on that, Headspace, actually, I use it all the time, and I got it from one of their little segments was using the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the five things that you can, using your five senses to kind of help bring your brain back to a calm state. So if I'm feeling overwhelmed, just like, okay, stop. What are five things you see right now? What are four things that you hear? What are three things you can touch? And you go down through your senses like that. It was super helpful. And like you said, like it can be the difference between letting that one situation kind of spiral and ruin the day, or just
Mhm.
taking that second and being like, okay, let's move forward. So thanks for sharing that. The other resources and support would be hotlines and online resources. So, if you're feeling overwhelmed during this time of year, there are all different types of online resources. The National Mental Health Hotline you can call. If you've lost a loved one and the holidays are approaching and you're just really feeling heavy with that grief, give them a call and they can connect you with people in the area that can set you up with whether you just need someone to talk to on that day or counseling or they can help you get connected, better connected to take care of yourself. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline as well. It's not just for suicide. So if you're thinking you're having some mental health struggles, alcohol or drug use concerns, or you just need someone to talk to, you can always call or text 988. And also the crisis text line. So I know different generations prefer different things, maybe. And so just being able to maybe you don't feel like talking on the phone, but you can always have this option as well to just text that conversation and text about the support that you may need. I will leave you with this one. These are two of my favorite quotes about self-care. Maybe you'll take something from it as well. So you can't pour from an empty cup. Take care of yourself. And also, when you say yes to others, make sure you are not saying no to yourself. Now that we've explored the ideas, I want to really encourage you all to just take a moment and create your own personal self-care plan for the holidays. I'm sure when we've been talking about all of this, there are things that have resonated with you. Kind of jot that down or make a note in your phone on how you can integrate that into your daily life moving forward through this season. My wish for all of you and my wish for myself as well is that we show ourselves the same amount of grace and compassion that you would show your best friend during this time of year. If you wouldn't treat your best friend in that way, if you wouldn't, if you would be like, "Gosh, you need to get some rest," or "You look exhausted. Let's take some time for you. Go take a nap." Do that for yourself when you're feeling that way. Just be gentle. Take care of yourself.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Julia, again, for all of your good advice. These are some really powerful resources as well to help with this season and far beyond it. I mean, self care is a constant act, and it's a constant act of kindness towards yourself and therefore towards others. And we're going to conclude today's program with a quote. We always end with a quote. And this is a good one and is especially pertinent to this season. The quote is, "Don't be sad for the trees. They have shed their leaves. They do it with gladness, for it's what they need. It's a part of the cycle, a part of their lives, sacrifice to survive, to once again thrive. Releasing the old can be hard to accept. Sometimes we must conserve our strength. Though it can be difficult letting things go, we must trust in ourselves to let new things grow." And that is a quote from David Larby. Thank you again, Julia, for being on our call today. We really appreciate you as a resource in the upstate community as well as with the Cancer Survivors Park Alliance. So thanks again, and we'll see everybody back in January.